boomer population, the number of people with disabling aches and pains is increasing every year. The CDC reports arthritis is the most common cause of disability among adults, along with back problems and heart trouble.
Welcome back. I'm Tamron Hall at the Satellite Desk. Drew Peterson may be the next reality star, and his show, well, it's not considered family friendly. It's actually going to be at a Nevada brothel. Peterson has been offered the role of an apprentice to the owner of the Moonlight Bunny Ranch, and the show's on HBO. It's called Cat House. The ex-cop is a suspect in the disappearance of his fourth wife, Stacy Peterson, and implicated in the death of his third wife, Kathleen Savio. So why would he do a show like this? Joining us is Drew Peterson's publicist, Glenn Selig, founder of the publicity agency. Thanks for joining us, Glenn. So I'll ask you, why is he doing it?
It's an opportunity that came his way. He's finding it interesting, so he's pursuing it and see where it goes.
Does he understand how people might figure that he's not taking perhaps the disappearance of his wife seriously or the death of the other? He knows that he's a suspect in both of these. To go on a show like this that's set at a brothel, what message does it send to the families of his two ex-wives and to his children in his home?
Well, as you know, Drew has denied any wrongdoing in either of those cases. And in this country, there is something called the presumption of innocence. Somewhere along the lines, the presumption of innocence got lost. So people presume him to be guilty. If you accept the fact that somebody is presumed innocent, they shouldn't have a problem with him being able to lead his life and take opportunities as those opportunities come to him.
Can you be presumed innocent but also be seen maybe as a less than compassionate person?
I suppose, but you know, if this show pays, and it pays pretty well,
how much does it
this
pay?
could also be an opportunity. At this point, we don't know. I honestly don't know. We're at the exploratory stages.
He signed up for a show and he doesn't know how much it pays? Isn't that like the first or second thing you ask?
Well, he hasn't quite signed up for the show yet. He has been invited to appear. He will be going to Nevada to explore this opportunity. Nothing has been signed at this point. He's interested. The show is interested, and that's the stage we're at right now.
So it hasn't gotten past that. But what is this job of an apprentice, real quick? What would he do on the show? Would he be a customer?
No, he would absolutely not be a customer. He'd be working at the brothel. He'd be learning the trade. This is a legalized brothel in the state of Nevada. For people who have a problem with legalized prostitution, obviously they would have an issue with this. But for people who believe that prostitution should be legal or could be legal, they shouldn't really have a problem with what he's doing.
All right, Glenn, thank you very much for answering some of those questions that are out there about your client. Thank you. And Defense Secretary Robert Gates just arrived in Afghanistan on an unannounced visit. Contessa is live at the news desk with more details. Contessa.
Tamron, Gates landed in Kabul just as the Obama administration kicks off a two-day summit on Afghanistan and Pakistan. At the same time, U.S. military officials are now confirming to NBC News that a dozen women and children were wounded in a U.S. airstrike in western Afghanistan this week. The military is investigating the incident and is unable to dispute the claims that more than 100 civilians were killed. Moments ago, Secretary Clinton addressed the emerging controversy.
I wish to express, my personal regret and certainly the sympathy of our administration on the loss of civilian life in Afghanistan.
Alberto Cairo is the head of orthopedic surgery for Afghanistan with the International Committee of the Red Cross. I know you've spent 19 years in Kabul. Tell me what the challenges are for people who are victims of this kind of thing, and you treat them living with that kind of a disability in Afghanistan.
But to be in Afghanistan now, to have for all the Afghans now, life is extremely difficult. If you are a disabled person, that becomes really a challenge. The Afghan society doesn't reject a disabled person, but doesn't really give them a chance to rebuild a life. That's the challenge. It's really sometimes they are left to fend for themselves.
I know that you, as part of the International Committee of the Red Cross, are trying microfinancing, some of these small loans. You're trying job training, vocational training to help people with these disabilities get ahead. I want to ask you more broadly, though. Here today you have President Hamid Karzai meeting with President Obama. The people that you're talking to, your Afghan friends, do they feel optimistic that the way to success for their country is through their political leaders, or are they more focused on jobs and how do they provide for their families?
Well, if you talk to ordinary people, really they ask, the first thing they ask is security, or including economic security.